All right, family. We are live. We are live. I know you're not used to seeing Brother Rich this early, but it's good to be on here a little early. I got a double header for y'all tonight. Special night, special day, special month, God Power Month. I'm about to bring on my guests. Want y'all to get comfortable. Make sure you hit the like button. Tell your friends and family we are live. We about to get it in. I talked to this brother on the phone, and trust me, we about to get it in. It's gonna be amazing. So hit the like button. Let me get to this commercial. We'll be right back, family. Now I'm gonna bring on my guest for today. All right, be right back.
Started out with nothing. Now I got a whole lot of something. Breaking through the roof. Willy Wonka when he pressed the button. When I do a money ritual, all of a sudden money started coming. Then I cut the Holy Ghost. I still be rhyming even when I'm mumbling. You repeat my name 3 times while you staring in the mirror. Body will appear like poof. I came from out of thin air. To me the gun is like a magic wand. I make a problem disappear. I would nigga tape out his mouth. Just to turn him to veneer. I can do magic. 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 When I open up my mouth, I can move masses. Black magic on the beat, turn it to a classic. I'ma take the money out the bank, then I'ma put it in the mattress. So many niggas got.
All right. And without further ado, Rod Hayes, welcome back, my brother.
Peace, Brother Rich.
Hey, good to have you back on here, my brother. Definitely good to have you back on here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I know y'all feeling in the room right now. All right. Real
Brother Rich,
interesting. Yeah.
you got a team that be putting your questions together, man, because you be asking some good ones.
Nah, man, that's just me, right? I'm a rover. So my shit come from the quantum field from Big Mama. This is just a rover.
You be coming with some good questions. So
Hey, I appreciate it, Rod. I appreciate it, man. Now, I'm really thankful because the way the questions come to me, I know it's channeled, brother, because it's like just the way it comes. It's like a euphoria hits over me and it comes. And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. And sometimes you could be talking and it'll come right on the spot, and I'm like, yeah, that just got channeled to me or whatever. So I'm just thankful. I'm not taking this for granted. That's why I take what I do serious. And yeah, brothers like yourself, man, just make me want to ask them good questions, man. But we had an interesting conversation. I was talking to Rod Hayes on the phone. Called the brother, always ask the brother. Well, first of all, I want to thank Rod Hayes for participating. He's contributing a poem type vibe to the meditation album on the Blueprint for God Power 2. I tell you, I got 3 tracks. Billy got 3 tracks. Dr. Lee Sirius got 3 tracks. One of my tracks is going to be featuring Rod Hayes. I heard the brother rhyme one day on a live, and I just put it in the back of my mind. I'm like, all right, this brother rhyme. I gotta talk to him about that one day. And I'm gonna work with the brother in the future on more projects. This is the first one. It's gonna be called Letter to Big Mama, Message to Big Mama, something around those lines, but it'll be coming soon. So shout out to everybody who got tickets. You definitely gonna enjoy it. I look forward to getting it for Rod and working on it and doing it. So yeah, it's fun, real fun. But Rod, we had a good talk the other day on the phone. We was talking about I forgot what I had originally called you for, but we ended up talking about Enki and dinosaurs and all types of stuff, man, in such a short amount of time. I'm like, yo, Rod, I gotta get you on the show. I got a show on Thursday. Today's on Wednesday, but I was like, I gotta get you before my show because I just wanted to get this out there. Let's start out with this, Rod. Let's start out like this. Let me put this on the screen. Let me see, where's this at? I want to read something real quick about dinosaurs and dragons. Let me read this real quick. Okay, so all over the internet, everybody's saying that dinosaurs really didn't exist in ancient times. It was really dragons. So all types of information, anybody can look it up. This is just an article that I found that I'm gonna read. It says word dinosaur invented in 1842 by Richard Owen. The word dinosaur was invented in 1842 by Richard Owen, an evolutionist, meaning literally terrible, powerful, wondrous lizards. Prior to 1842, such animals were referred to as dragons. In fact, the terms dragon and dinosaur were used interchangeably in scientific writings through the 19th century. In China today, where dragon history is very rich, scientists still refer to these animals as dragons. Contrary to popular thought, dinosaur is a relatively new word and therefore is not found in the Bible, just as neither is automobile or computer. Understand, no one in all of world history believed there were dinosaurs before 1842, but everyone believed in the historical evidence of dragons because almost every single culture around the world has historical evidence of dragons. So I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna end it there. Rod Hayes, to start out with, talk to me a little bit about, because we always hearing about dragons when we study mythology and we study that, you know, talk to me about dragons and dinosaurs, and is dinosaurs a myth? And did we used to, you know, just talk to me about that. We start out like that, just like how we did on the phone the other day, brother. What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, dinosaurs is one of the cycles that we went through, right? And it was because of the Andromeda beings.
The dinosaurs are dragons. What?
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Remember, the word dinosaur is only like 150, 200 years old at the most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before that, we was calling dinosaurs dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at what they show us as the dinosaurs. They show us in the cartoon taming dragons that we was going up to the nest, stealing the eggs, hatching the eggs, raising the dinosaurs, learning how to ride them.
Right.
Right. In the Avatar, they show us riding dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference is in Avatar, they have their hair connects to a part of the animal for them to communicate. We do it telepathically.
Right.
So one of the reasons they started gator baiting in the South was because those are the Sobek priests that was on the land used to ride around on alligators.
Say that one more time.
The Sobek priests from the South. When we say Sobek priest, that means the priests who hold alligators and crocodiles as a sacred totem animal and interact with them in such a manner.
Right.
Would be called priests of Sobek. Sobek is the spirit god of the alligator. So like out of all of the alligators, when you tune into them and they collective unconscious manifest as Sobek in human form. Right? So the human responsible for the caretaking of the alligators and the crocodiles, or the crocodilians of the world, would be classified as Sobek priests. They are probably the oldest line of priests that's still functional. Right? Like in just a tribe in Africa, that's a Sobek tribe, was what we would call them. They live with crocodiles. If they baby fall in the water, the crocodile bring them back up and put them on the bank if he's drowning. But if you do that in the Nile, your ass is dinner. Right? But if you do that where they at, and you from that clan, they got to understand not to eat the human. Right? And they swim with them, fish by them, ride them. Wow. They have old pictures of people riding, drawings of people riding the backs of alligators and crocodiles. This is because this practice was interrupted with the Gullah Wars.
With the Gullah War, okay.
So they start gator baiting the gators with the babies in order to get the gators with the taste of our flesh, because they wouldn't eat us. They would eat the imposters, the invaders, but if we was laying there dead, they wouldn't eat us. So the invaders started using the babies, and they didn't just throw them out to the alligators. They would cut them open and throw them in the alligator mouth, and then his nature take place. And then over time, they lose their sense of connection to the people they used to ride them.
Right.
Right now, you see what they call gator farmers incorporating pale faces in the priesthood of Sobek.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk around, play with them alligators, but they know how to respect them and stay out that damn snapper.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But then you got some, like it's a Sobek priest in South America who live with his crocodile, saltwater crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
He left his family and moved into a hut on the river so he could live with his crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Like the crocodile come out, crawl up in the hut with him, and they sleep next to each other. Crazy shit. But it's the communication on the frequency that he's able to control the interaction on a spiritual level where the crocodile don't see him as prey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know it, but you got blue eyes right now on the screen.
Yeah, that's because of the blue light glasses. The blue light, it gives off that blue light.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's deep, Rod. What So talk to me about this dinosaur. So we figured out. Okay, so dinosaur dragons were can be used interchangeably. You talked about the dragons, and we see it all in all the movies, even Game of Thrones. We see them riding the dragons or whatever. In terms of Enki and his connection with the dragons, and what you were telling me,
he made him in the laboratory for Earth to be a safari for the Andromeda beings.
Enki made dragons in a laboratory so Earth could be a safari for the Andromedan beings.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a peace treaty between the matriarchal Andromeda queen, hive queen, and Isis. So back then, see, all of these are cycles. We have to have a script that describes the cycles. In this script, they wrote it in. It's a treaty between Andromeda and Earth. They was given a period of time to come and hunt the great lizards, the giant lizards. Right, because they wanted challenging game.
Right.
They didn't use, like, for instance, in the movie Predator. If you go to Predator versus Alien with Sanaa Lathan, this is what made them, like, they end up bonding a pack with the Earth women. So the Earth women got invaded by the aliens now. So the Predator beings, the Andromeda beings, become allies in the war against the new reptilian aliens, which is actually from they Syrians, but they Syrian exiles.
Why did they get exiled?
For the same shit they get in exile from Earth. Not giving respect to the rules of the planet and trying to use universal rules to usurp the rules to the Earth. So you try to use the higher rules in the wrong way, and it takes away free will in a free will universe because you turn it upside down and backwards. So the people believe they're using free will, but it's an illusion that's created by the invader to subjugate the people and to absorb their essence, so to speak. It's, galactic warfare.
Yeah, no, it seems that way. Yeah.
And they've been telling us about the war in heaven. Right? The war in heaven play out in ancient Egypt as Set versus Osiris. The bird people versus the reptile people. Right? So it's reenacted over and over again until somebody saw the problem. And then you go to a whole new set of systems and new cycles. Right? The next system, the sun cycle comes in, which means it has to deliver us a golden age. So the seeds of the the moon cycle is gestating in order to produce the bounty for the sun cycle.
Okay.
Right? So you're going from winter to summer.
Mm-hmm.
This is the transitional period, spring. Right? So all of the things that we put into motion by the conditions of the old cycle, we can now cash the karma in to pay for the next future. Right? And then that's why the old ones have to be at the bottom and the new ones have to be on top, because the new ones come in with no karma. They got to create good and bad karma.
Right. Okay.
Right? Because they got to try to get into a cycle that allows them ascension. But it's a whole lot of other stuff, genetics at play, spiritual development, all of these different things is at work at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is why life is three-dimensional when you live in it, but when you outside of the body, it's two-dimensional. And that's why you can read your book of life using out-of-body experience.
It's because it's like literally like reading a book. Because
you can see the whole timeline now. Like looking at the script of a movie or looking at a film of a movie, holding it up, you can see whole scenes at a time.
So our ancestors that moved on, like let's say my mother passed away, so she could see my whole timeline right now.
She could see the whole timeline from beginning to end.
So that's why we ask our ancestors for help, because they know the timeline.
They're not restricted by the confines of time.
Right.
Or space.
Right.
They in energy state.
Yeah.
And from the energy state, we have a secondary creation part that we go to coming into the physical. Mm-hmm. And this is where you see your whole life before you take on the form to determine if this is the one that you want to deal with.
You know, quick question. This is a little off topic, but I had Billy on yesterday, Billy Carson. Since we talking about ancestors, you know how spirits take over bodies sometime, or
walk-ins.
Yeah, walk-ins or whatever. Can spirits walk in with the element of fire? Like, you know, we like to meditate in front of fire, candles and shit like that. Can spirits take over the flame of a fire? And that's what makes that flame so meditative. And because it seems like we get information while we're looking at this flame. That shit, I love meditating in front of a candle. That shit, I don't know what it is, but it seems like I'm getting like some super duper downloads. Is that an ancestors communicating me directly through that fire?
That fire element, go back to the cartoon Avatar with Aang. Remember Aang?
Yeah.
Okay, he had to master all four elements before he can get the final element of ether. Mm-hmm. Right? This is what you're doing when you're dealing with the focal point of fire, earth, air, and water, is you focus on a part of your own inner magic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As you once you get those four down, the combination of them makes you have to now work from the ether. Working with ether is where they call metaphysics. It's the quantum field, the quantum level. Right. So it's each one of them, water, earth, air, and fire, is the four elements, and they also represent the four cardinal directions. Right. The fifth cardinal direction that's represented by the ether is straight up. What they call Polaris, the North Star. Right, straight up. So if you straight up and you in the center and you've made a 360 in development, you've seen the whole field and the terrain. Now you got to get a bird's eye view, so you have to go to the ether to see it. Right, as above, so below. So now all you have to do is reverse engineer what you see on Earth by looking up and imagine what's being projected to the earth on the ground. And this is how they teach you how to navigate by the stars. Just all of this is to formulate the mind to do a conceptual physics formula by looking at the position of stars and the position that they is on the planet. And you know where you at on the planet by the position of the stars.
Right.
That's why they call it navigation.
Got you. Got you. But let me
Navy gates.
Navy gates. So to get back to the whole dragon thing, right. So how did this whole experiment? You said Enki invented the dragons in a laboratory. How did this whole dragon experiment work out for Enki and the Andromedans? What ended up happening with the dragons, Andromedan beings?
The contract expired, right?
Yeah.
When the contract expired, now they create an artificial ice age, a nuclear winter.
Who created this?
This was it was gonna happen anyway because it's the war of the Anunnakis fighting each other, family feuding on Earth. The war on heaven landed on Earth. That shit ain't got nothing to do with us. That's the family feud of some beings from another place, and they want us to think they some holy divine entities.
Yeah.
And they want us to pick sides in their conflict.
Yeah.
Right? It's a war between the two sons of the king fighting for the throne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So they get parts of the kingdom appointed to each one of them according to their skill set and capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the wise general going to always have somebody that can do a function that the other general can do that he can't.
Mm-hmm.
So he can delegate that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing in the military on Earth. It's the same thing in the gangs, which is tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's part of the cultural dynamic, but they play it out in regimented form in order to confuse your mind because we trapped in cycles. So they run us through straight lines in the circle, so all we doing is catching up to our tail. We ain't never really making progress. We just going in circles. And we laugh at the dog that chases his tail, but we chase ours all the time.
We're doing the same thing. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So the Andromedan beings, you said they had a matriarchy system. Is that like an all-female planet, or how does it work?
It's a matriarchy. Women are the lawgivers. The men enforce the law.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In a patriarchal system, the man is a dictator because he has to hold his position above all other men by force.
Mm-hmm.
In the matriarchy, you don't have to you don't win by force. You win by love and respect. Most love, most respected gets the position.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you develop yourself to be the most loved and most respected.
Yeah.
Right. That's how you gain. That's how we become chiefs. First, you got to have the blood and the right. Then you got to put in the work so that you can have something to offer that don't nobody else got to offer.
Right.
And whatever you got to offer that can't nobody else do, you the chief of that.
Yeah.
Right. This is why in the industry, the entertainment industry, they steal the rights from the artists. That's really what the selling of the soul is. You giving up your soul essence for somebody else's financial gain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's your creation. The things that you bring into fruition from your higher consciousness into the 3D realm. And now they capitalizing on it in the capitalist society. And all of the capital is capital gains. And then they get relief from capital gains taxes so that they never have to feel the pangs of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is the vision tool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these things we're looking at, they are taking what's natural to us and weaponizing it against us.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we end up where we at now.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to come from up under it.
Right. So I did a show with you and Billy talking about Earth rovers in the human body.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about cycles. So in that cycle, was dragons the Earth rover? Because this is just a hologram. We're really, we're multidimensional. So
they had people walking around with dinosaurs.
Uh-huh.
They weren't just dinosaurs. We was back there too.
No, but the actual dragons, did we use them as rovers from a higher state of consciousness like we use the human body?
No.
Okay.
We use the same organic, or what we call arm, leg, arm, head. The same Allah design of the current physiology, but it probably was bigger and more robust, like Australopithecus
Yeah.
or Australorobustus.
Uh-huh.
When you look them ancient, you understand they was a much more sturdy species of human. Everything we didn't been everything you could think of. We've been through those cycles.
Uh-huh.
We always are able to communicate with all of the other species of the planet telepathically if we just understand them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the prerequisite. That's why you study the thing that you think is your totem animal, because the more you know about it, the more it opens up what's called the sympathetic link. Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's the beginning of telepathy.
Right.
Right. So if I want to, I can lay in the bed and meditate on an eagle. If it's an eagle anywhere in where they can lay eyes on what I want to see, I can see it through the eagle's eye.
Ooh. So the eagle's your totem animal, right?
One of them. I got a lot of totem animals. I'm like Dr. Doolittle.
What's another one?
The gorilla.
That's why the sick ape. That's why you got the sick ape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my prime totem.
Right.
I got several bird totems, but the gorilla is my prime totem, coming from my father's line.
Right.
My mother's line, it would have been the elephant, but I'm like my father's son. I'm a mama's boy, but I'm my daddy's son. That's the monkey riding in the town on the elephant. They didn't know he was gonna grow up to be a fucking gorilla. All the time they thought he was a chimp and tried to treat him like a chump until he bite their face off.
Well, what Jay-Z said, little monkey nigga turned gorilla. That's what Jay-Z said. Reasonable doubt. So C. Dick said like remote viewing. So when you talk about this totem animal, and you talked about this remote viewing through the totem out, right?
Yeah. Only they can see in real time anything that's in eye shot of them.
Yeah.
When I go to the zoo, I can feel the gorilla heart beating wherever I'm at in the zoo.
Yeah.
I'm in close enough proximity, I can feel his heartbeat. The irony of it is certain dudes that was locked up, when I got close to them, I could feel their heartbeat the same way. It's kind of spooky when you first experience it, but after you figure out what you're going through, it makes perfect sense. It's a sympathetic link. From a common totem. Like if I be around lions, that's my father's totem as a Leo, but his family line is the giraffe off his mother line. Right? So I can tune in to them animals as a totem animal, but I don't have the same sensation that I get from the gorilla, where I can actually feel his heartbeat if I'm in close enough proximity to him.
Yeah, I'm interested. This is some interesting stuff. You know what I always had. Ever since I was a kid, I always had a parakeet. Always had a parakeet in my house. I got one now. Always kept the parakeet, man. I love
that's your
parakeet.
familiar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the familiar is different from a totem because it has to physically be in your life. Mine is a dog.
Your familiar is a dog. Yeah.
Here go the crazy part. You might never hear your parakeet talk, but they can talk, right? It might be some danger coming, and he might say, "Rich, danger. Rich, danger." You'd be like, "Where the fuck that come from?"
Out of nowhere, right? Yeah.
Listen to that motherfucker if he start talking. I don't care if he tell you that the sky finna turn blue, purple, green. If he start talking and he ain't never talked before, he not talking from himself.
Damn.
You got to coach them to talk. The parakeets don't like people to know they can talk. So unless it's something that they have to say spirit is so strong they can't hold it back. Then they bust out and tell you. Then you got some that's prima donnas. They like to dance and talk. And they chatterboxes. Yeah.
Oh man.
Parakeet is the budgie. The budgie is the buddy.
Right, right. So is there, I asked you about the dragons. Is there any recorded history from what you read of a previous rover model that we use to navigate the 3D realm besides the Earth body? Like, did we always use the, like you said, the Allah, the arm, leg, arm, head? Or was there another
this is the most efficient structure that we put together. It's about efficiency.
Right.
Like the elephant is a large mammal. It's hard on the joints. It's less efficient over time. Where you got the whale don't need to have good strong knees because he's in the water. So it'd be more efficient for the whale to function in the water than for it to function on land. So what becomes efficient? The human is a composite of the most efficient aspects of all creative organic beings. Right? That's why you can find where we diverge genetically on a tree of creation. They can literally look at the DNA and tell you at which point did the DNA diverge from this lesser species. But when you get to the human, we all mind. So as all mind, we got to be the head of all bodies. And all bodies, our organic bodies, are animals. And the human is the head of the animals. It's what we call the transformer effect. Right? All of the totem animals of the ancient tribes come together the same way. This is why you see DMX Chief Zolo from the old Mesoamerican culture that the Mexican hairless dog is named after. Right? Then you got Tupac Amaru, the old panther, the incarnated panther totem who come in like the movie Black Panther, but there's still another totem animal that can make the move for the throne. Right? So then you see that he fight with the gorilla, the gorilla clan don't really want this shit. But when the panther ain't around to go get it, now the gorilla's gonna have to cover his back because you know what's happening. Right. So the clans, all of the totem clans or the old clans work together in order to overcome the obstacles put in front of us by whatever the opposition is. It's just that my job is to make all of these conjures be undone.
You talked about, we also talked about, this is an interesting concept I know a lot of people never heard of. When we talk about Earth and you talk about the Anunnaki, one of the first things people think about is the mining of gold. You talked about how the righteous people who walk the earth, a byproduct of having a righteous spirit, produces gold on the earth.
Yeah.
And a byproduct of unrighteous spirit produces oil. Could you, now that's some weird shit. Could you elaborate on that? For a lot of us, that's weird.
Yeah, I actually did a video on this before. But we are accumulated stardust.
Yeah.
Right. When we walk on the earth as a righteous soul, the earth being naturally creates the gold. It's a heart chakra resonance that causes the reflection of the sun penetrating the organism, reaching the core of the earth, and it get trapped on the return in the veins of the earth as veins of gold. Right? The unrighteous, because they need time and temperature to develop, start out as the producing oil in the earth, because this is how the earth filters the dirt they do. So they turn it into capital. The oil need time, temperature, and pressure to become a piece of coal. And from a piece of coal, it moves as a dynamic diamond, is the most purified form of carbon, which is transparent. But it gives off the appearance of colors by the pigmentations of light that's striking. So it's a prism of light. And so those who come in low vibrational beings, as they evolve, produces the oil as a side effect of their presence, striking the core of the earth, getting trapped in veins that they call oil veins. Right? But it's not just those two, it's also all of the platinum group metals are all of the masters on the planet, or the master family bloodlines. These is what they call key lines or key bloodlines. And this is why your ley lines are also called key lines on the earth. It's all correspondences. Like in hermetics.
Yeah.
Everything got a side effect.
Yeah.
But we don't know what the side effect is to everything. The hard part for us on Earth was to figure out why we had gold and other places didn't. Because our sun, in interaction with mainly the women, because at one time it wasn't no men, for the gold to accumulate, it started with them. And they golden heart. This is where you get your sun worship from. The presence of the stardust that forms the being in the purified heart produces the gold on the energy return to the sun. Right? So it's like a reflection of light hit the core of the earth, go through you on the way, take your essence with it. Because you righteous, when it come back out, you got platinum, you got gold, you got iridium, you got copper, right? And the weakest of them all is the iron, right? But that's the first phase of the higher development. And you notice that the symbol for iron is Fe, prefix for female. When they talk about Iron Man, Fe man, female, feminine man, right? Talking about creative potentialities. Do your right brain function or just your left brain? We supposed to be ambidextrous. What happened? Why we not? Somebody did something to maim us. They wounded our right hemisphere. So the brain damage make the other side become more dominant. Now you have to work through the brain damage in order to get back to the function of the ambidextrous status of the brain functioning in harmony.
Right.
And you got to live it out in your life in order to find all of the properties to rebuild the right hemisphere, which is the hemisphere of wisdom, artistic creation, and spirituality. Left hemisphere is responsible for intellect, logic, and reason. So when you put them together, they're supposed to work together in synthesis. But they telling us the way that we treat our women shows whether we're looking for the synthesis or the antithesis, the separation, the division. They feed us the seeds of division. I be listening to all these people trying to tell people about relationships like we ain't never had relationships before. I'm like, damn, what about all them people that stayed together 40 years and there wasn't no such thing as a marriage counselor?
Right.
They had no such thing. What about before that when we would have relationships till we 120 and we've been together 97 years?
Yeah.
We forget about all that stuff. Now we think it's so hard to have a relationship. Yeah, because everybody's selfish, self-centered, and greedy, entitled, and don't want to do no self-work, but they want everybody else to work on themselves. That's not going to never work. It's going to always blow up in your face. Right? And the denial is the reality that everybody don't have to think the same. Everybody don't supposed to see everything the same, because if they did, then there would be no richness to life. We all just be like logs floating down the river.
Yeah, exactly. You said when I was talking to you, you told me the seven sisters produced the metals. Could you elaborate on who's the seven sisters?
The seven sisters is the Pleiades. They also produce crystals.
You mean
Right.
Palladians? You mean the Palladians? That's what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Okay.
Yeah. But all of those things is okay. So everything that we use on Earth for spiritual practices, we ordered it out of a catalog, for lack of a better way to put it. We built this shit off the Sims.
Damn.
The Voynich manuscript is an ancient catalog that we used to order from another star system some stuff we needed to make Earth beautiful.
So you're like, let me get some marijuana. Let me get some of this. Like that's how like that.
Well, that was brought THC cannabis was brought from the Canis star system.
Let me said that. Yeah.
Right. And that's what they needed, just like the mushrooms was brought by the Teros, the ones that they said they got the fat gene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those with the overalls, old farmer boys, they brought us the mushroom. The mushroom has since got, oh man, you asked me about that.
Oh yeah, actually early. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna talk to you about that. Yeah.
So the name we named the mushroom psilocybin under the Greek genus of species, and the spirit of the mushroom said it was his favorite name when I asked him why. He said because it sounded like silly ass Cyrus, and he just bust out laughing so hard, man. But he gave me some information, and I just knew I was you hallucinating. It can't be true, right? So I come out of the trip and checked out everything he said, and everything he said checked out A1 true.
Damn.
Fucked me up.
Wow.
Brother Rich, this was this year.
This year.
This was about 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
He came in with a light show.
Yeah.
It was crazy. He came in with a light show. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? He said, I'm psilocybin. I get extra serious when I be dealing with something that's not normal to me. So I'm like, who the fuck?
Oh, wow. I am psilocybin. Wow. Oh, man.
He went to showing me where the life cycle of the mushroom. I'm looking at snotty cow noses, snotty moose noses, snotty buffalo noses. They all in the fields sucking in spores, sneezing them back out, and then dropping dung on them.
Yeah.
And then the mushrooms spring out the dung. So he's showing me the life cycle. But the one that threw me off, he told me to focus on the elk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He said elk love mushrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we go on and on and on. Then he tell me that for psychic healing, the proboscis monkeys still use mushrooms for psychic healing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm getting all this in the trip. He then told me, he say, I got mushrooms everywhere. Wherever you need to know something, I got mushrooms there. He went to showing me mushrooms in caves. He showed me mushrooms on mountains, mushrooms in the fields, mushrooms on trees. He's just showing me different places where mushrooms at, right? But then he took me back to the cave, right? So he said, now this is the whatever species of mushroom he told me it was, and he said they got something called bioluminescence. It allows them to illuminate caves. So I come out of the trip and somebody sent me a reel talking about animals that get high. And it's landed on the elk love the mushroom, a specific strain of mushroom. Blew me back. Boom. So I'm like, man, so that made me go look up the proboscis monkey. And then they say the proboscis monkey has an obsession with the mushroom. And I'm like, God damn. I said, okay, I'm tripping. So I go on here about 2-3 hours later, I come back, I go check my messages. Somebody sent me bioluminescent mushroom illuminates cave article. I'm over here tripping off my trip.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Tripping off your trip. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that was. I'm like, I'm not even under the mushroom experience now. The aftermath is more dynamic than the actual trip itself.
Mm. That was a hella interesting story right there, Rock. Wow. Wow. So something else we was talking about, Rob, when we was talking about the different cycles and the different thing, because we were just basically talking about how this shit is just a video game, and
It's
there's
all.
different.
It's a proverb that said, "There's nothing new under the sun."
Mm-hmm.
If it's a guy named Michael Cremo, he wrote a book called Forbidden Archaeology. Got history that is so far back that it doesn't make sense for it to exist with our current paradigm.
Wow.
Right? But he's going through the different cycles, what he called the Great Kali Yuga and the Lesser Kali Yugas. They're cycles within cycles.
Mm.
Right? When you go back to Vedic history doesn't read the same as Western history. You get millions of years of history through the Hindu schools that you don't get in modern paradigm education.
Mm.
Right? Because the Hindu culture is the oldest culture that still practiced the same way no matter who settled their land.
Mm.
It's the oldest uninterrupted culture on the planet. Everybody else been interrupted.
The Hindu culture.
Yeah.
Mm.
What we call modern day India.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they had different names for it. All of these names that we use in as exonyms, they was given to us by invaders.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All of the names that we used to use, they changed the spelling or pronunciation. For the tribes that didn't write, they changed the pronunciation of it.
Right.
And when they do that, they write a history, and we don't even know they're talking about us in our face behind our back.
Mm.
All the time they talking about us, calling us Negro, but they telling us how they slaughtered us off and purged us from the land that we own while we sitting there getting the lesson from the liar that's telling the story.
Mm.
Right? Because the victor gonna tell the story that's gonna make the ones conquered remain conquered as long as possible. They're not gonna never tell you the story that's gonna liberate you, and knowledge itself is liberation.
Right, right.
Right? The highest form of liberation is to liberate the self from other people's paradigms so that you can see the perspective from your own viewpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing to teach in the current paradigm, because the current paradigm says you automatically wrong, the system automatically right, and we got the police to beat you in the head and shoot you in the ass to prove it.
Mm.
We wear the uniforms and we write the paper. We got to be the right people.
Right.
So we assume because they uniformed and they got all of these stacks of papers, then they look important, they must be important motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All the time, they the frauds. And the really important one is that old man in the hood sitting there drinking his wine, watching the world go by because he ain't participating in these games. Because it don't make sense to him. Right? It's a song by Incognito called 100 and Rising.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl singing, she said, old man sitting in the shade, no longer wanting to participate in this charade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's sitting there drinking his lemonade, and it's 100 and rising. You're watching the temperature of the summer day go up, but she also watching the temperature of the people go up, spiritually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Body temperature might not go up, but eventually you're going to get fed up with certain stuff. It just takes the strongest people longer to get fed up enough to do the right thing about it.
Facts.
Yep. Oppression is atmospheric. That means that you only going to stay as oppressed as you're willing to accept. Then you're going to break free because you're done with that crap.
Mm. You also talked about because we talk a lot about us in a former cycle being giants, and there's so much evidence that we used to be giants. We was talking about how we chose this particular avatar, smaller one, to populate more.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, this is a chapter of misery, the epoch or the age of warfare. When you was giants, the warfare was fought mano a mano.
Mm.
When you modern size humans, you fight your wars with armies.
Right.
Right. So it's not reliant on one person having to be the strongest. If he can position the most soldiers in the best spots, he can win the war without striking a blow.
Mm.
So we didn't been through everything. If you can think of it, we did it already because it's already in your memory bank.
Right.
Right. Now you can create something with the agency of art that's an abstract of something we're going to create in the future. Because you can see the future and the past at the same time when you're not in the body.
Right. We just talked about that.
Right. Only hindsight is 2020 and the future is murky.
Mm.
So when you write it in the abstract, when you pass the phenomenon, you'll recognize it in symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
It's like driving down the street real fast and everything is a blur.
Mm-hmm.
But if you periodically take a picture, you say, I didn't even know I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the art is.
Deep.
So now you look back on the art and then you can see the spiritism in the art form that allow you to read the pulse of the people when they put it on the drum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hadith say Muhammad told his subjects to bring him the duffs. That's the drums. You got drums in Islam. You got drums in tribal culture of Africa. Drums in the tribal cultures of the Americas. Drums in the tribal cultures of Asia, in the plains of Asia, the Mongolian empires. You got drums in Europe. You got drums in Australia, drums on the islands, the Tongans and the Samoans. They all beating on the drum.
Mm-hmm.
Tribal stories relay a message on the drum. The echo can be picked up in the future and written as a new song.
Mm.
It's time travel without going there physically.
Right, right.
You send the message in the future on the beat. Next time the beat come up, the message come out.
Mm-hmm.
You thought that beat ain't never been heard before. You just ain't hear it in this lifetime. But whoever put the message on the track is the one who can see the message that was being delivered when it was made the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The one who can hear the track, that's the producer that make the beat. He can hear the echo of the past.
Mm.
Right? It's a book called Echoes of the Old Dark Land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Talking about going back to the melanin center.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we always refer to it in modern times as going back to Africa. It's not Africa, it's Ethiopia or Ether Utopia.
Mm.
The spirit science of the nine ether liberates us from all lesser conscious gas forces. Automatically, when we understand how it works and what it does, we free.
You said
Garvey brought it to the mainland through the Rasta house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Rastas knew what it was, so they perpetuated and tied it back to Ethiopia through Haile Selassie.
Mm-hmm.
Ethiopia is tied to India because India used to be Eastern Ethiopia.
Mm.
Right? And the people in the Ethiopia in Africa today is called the Afar.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to call people from the far eastern Ethiopia the Afar Inca.
Mm.
Right? They was the people at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Inca meant people.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to refer to ourselves as the Amur Inca. Not to be confused with Moor, because Moor is a catch term and is modern. Right? So the Amur Inca meant the people who was under the rule of the Amaru Empire. Right? And the deity that was responsible for the Amaru Empire, which is a priesthood on the leopard clan, and the stealth priests is Black Panthers. And we call him Tupac Amaru. Right? So we see him today and we call him Tupac Shakur. Right? And then when we see DMX, that's Chief Zolo. When we see 50 Cent, that's Curtis Jackson. He's an ancient conjure man from New Orleans.
Yeah.
One of the coldest.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see 50 Cent, he come with something called the Big 50 flip. The Big 50 flip is giving the conjure key off of the fatherland that was hidden in the father house over to the motherland by giving it to Big 50. Big 50 in turn rally the troops, the March of the Mares, to flip 50 mares. And they all come with a regiment. So in the war games, by positioning the divine feminine across the land and tying them to the capitals, right, it gave me 50 sisters to flip off of 50 niggas. And 50 Cent being Big 50.
Wow.
Guerrilla unit off a guerrilla clan.
Damn.
To a Black guerrilla family.
Yeah.
To a GD that's a pit bull.
Wow. You be making them connections, man.
It's in the psyche of the subconscious. It's all there.
Quick announcement to everybody. Me and Rod Hayes is doing a Patreon video probably next Tuesday. Sometime next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. There's some things I want to discuss that obviously y'all know what's going on over there. That's all over the news that we definitely can't talk about. And it's going to be raw and uncut. It's going to be uncensored, raw and uncut. So all the Patreons, get ready for that next week. And if you are not a Patreon, I advise you to sign up because this is going to be a real raw and uncut video touching on things that is very pertinent with what's going on in the news right now. There's a big propaganda campaign going on in the news right. Red and Blue just got their channel taken down. I don't know if I think it was because they was talking about that. You know, they striking channels for talking about that right now. So I ain't even gonna talk about that. But everybody know what I'm talking about. But Rod will be on Patreon next week. So just stay tuned for that. We're gonna be touching on that. So Rod, so in terms of you talked about the North, you mentioned the North Star earlier. They say that the North Star Polaris is no longer the North Star anymore. What does that mean for this paradigm and the paradigm that we're entering, that we don't have the same North Star that we had anymore, Rod?
So that would mean that the shift is taking place already. We just seeing it. So we'll know about it from the stellar event before we see it play out in the physical reality.
Okay.
When you get the report that the stellar event has altered, it's telling you that there's an incoming alteration in what's going on the earth with the human people reenacting the movement of the stars. Right? So some of us are trailblazers, we comets, we burn through the land. You know, then some of us, we just lesser stars that follow the beaten path. Right? Until we build up enough momentum in our own orbit to become supernova.
Indeed.
Cycles of life.
Cycles of life, huh? I want to get to a couple of questions. I got a double header tonight, y'all. I got KT coming on at 9. Me and Rod will probably be on here for about another 20 minutes. Then I'm gonna take a break, and KT is gonna come on at 9. So I want to take some questions from y'all. I don't want to leave here without getting some questions from y'all. Give me some questions. I see a couple of super chat questions. Somebody wants to know, Rod Hayes, what is the effect of the solar eclipses?
The fact to be different for different people,
Mhm,
right? When you understand eclipsing energies, is one energy overtaking another energy,
mhm,
right? And the symbolism is timed to the divine feminine reclaiming their power on earth from the less than divine masculine usurpers.
mhm.
The timing is synchronized, so it can mean a lot of stuff depending on your spiritual rank.
Okay.
The lesser your rank, the less it means. Then some people it ain't gonna mean shit.
Mhm,
They just NPCs anyway,
mhm.
right? But then some people it's gonna change the world for them. Their whole paradigm just shifts,
Mhm.
right? Old things that didn't serve them can fall off, and future things that's gonna be in their greatest good come online. It just depends on where you at in your development.
Mhm, mhm. Somebody said, coming straight from a Maori elder, Hindu is not the only uninterrupted culture. Maori culture is also uninterrupted.
No, the Europeans interrupted it when they interrupted this one over here.
Mm,
The Europeans have it now. They still hold on to the aspects of their culture. Don't get me wrong,
mhm,
but um, the majority of them church people.
mhm,
That's interrupted like a motherfucker.
mm,
They Catholic Christians, right? Then the ones who don't want to participate, their culture is not interrupted because they don't even live with the rest of the ones that has been usurped, have been deviated, told their culture was some kind of backward field jargon, some bullshit, and then this Christian shit is what's right.
mhm,
But it's a sizable portions of people there that's been Christianized and it's been dominating the society. When
mhm,
you go to India, they doing the same thing in 2023 that they was doing in 700 BC.
mm,
The only difference is they got somebody that they call a head of state following the pattern of Europe, but all of the rest of their spiritual practices and all that stuff, they ain't never stopped doing that shit.
mm.
And they still got the record of it.
Right.
But that's the most critical part to keeping it intact, right? The Maori culture is old, but it's not as old as the Hindu culture. The Hindu culture wasn't always called Hindu. The Ayurvedic is an even older term for it,
Mhm,
right? But they got the text that's the foundational information for the Maori culture in their temples.
mhm,
Now, all of these cultures, as elders was setting up cultures and living under their own vine and fig tree. And
mhm,
other people came later on and said, no, the way you living ain't how we think you should live. So you should change your lifestyle how I think you should live it.
mm,
And most of us put up a hell of a fight, but they already knew when they come to bring over overwhelming force until
mhm,
they ran into that Gullah War that ended up becoming a Kandra War.
mm. All right, let's get to the next question. Somebody wants to know, how can we look more into our totem animal?
Look, almost all your spirit information you already know.
Mhm,
You already know what your totem animal is. Research and investigate as much as you can about it. And the more you study it, the more you can tune in to the frequency. Sometimes they just deliver you information in dreams in an abstract form because of how you process. And
right, right.
sometimes you can be so in tune with them that you can use their higher senses.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about seeing with the eagle's eye, that's because that's his highest sense. You know, we smell like a bloodhound.
Mm.
No, so all of these things are higher senses of an animal that we can utilize as a human.
Mm-hmm. Let's get to another question, Rod. Melissa wants to know, ask Rod to share who amongst the Anunnaki is responsible for destroying Apsu and Mother Tiamat.
When that happened, that was an accident. It was a miscalculation in the navigation system. Since then, that's been corrected. But it was that none of their names are known on Earth because they never came to Earth. But they were the ones that was the pilots responsible for navigating through this cluttered solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They got more clutter that comes with them that make it more difficult to navigate without causing, meteor showers on every planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they have something like galactic GPS, so to speak, where they can monitor where the Earth is, and they can run simulations. They keep running simulations until they get the orbit that they desire that causes the least amount of destruction. That was a strategy given to the Anunnaki by Tahuti. Right, because they had the technology, but they had never thought to use it to plot their own course and steer would cause the least amount of damage. They didn't know that they could make that kind of, well, they knew they had the technology, but they just didn't ever make it. So now they made it and it's working, because you would have been seeing the Nibiru in the sky because it's big as hell. They just seen it already in different parts of the planet. But when it come all the way around, the orbit has been changed. It's not going to even be a third of the size it used to be in the sky. So you're going to see it. When you see it, it's going to be big as hell. And that's not even a third of the size that it used to be when you see it.
Wow.
Right, because they changed the orbit. The orbit had to be adjusted because of the especially the debris tail of Nibiru. We still getting iron oxide, but it's coming in patches. Before it was coming in the whole storm, had a whole planet red. Now it's coming in patches. That's a good sign. That means they just out of the reach where the tailwind is not smothering us, so to speak. And it's minimizing the potential for the so-called doomsday. Because every time they used to come, the crust used to flip. But this time, only the core flipped. That means that they adjusted it just out of the reach of the planet enough where it won't cause the surface to flip, but it will cause the inner pole to flip. So before it flipped, it got to stop. That happened back in January. And when it picked back up and started rotating again, it's going to go the opposite direction. They reported that 6 days later. That's the reversal of the poles without the crust flipping this time. It's all part of the redemption process. The more we do what we're supposed to do, the more we get to divert all of the catastrophes. Oh, they call it near misses. Bad shit gonna happen, but worst case scenarios never occur. Right. So bad shit gonna happen, but worst case scenarios never occur. Because there's always a minimizing ritual you could play out to reduce the activity of the whole overall catastrophic event. Right. They could have did 9/11 to minimize nuclear holocaust. So it's been a ritual to lessen the destruction that causes a ripple in the people's emotions sufficient enough to know that a catastrophic event took place. Now they don't have to do nuclear holocaust.
So
But
deep.
it depends on who gets the position to use it, the energy, the egregore, the accumulated thought forms of the most people. This is why you want them to believe in themselves, right? Because everything starts self-correcting for everybody. The more people believe in themselves, the less that the egregore is centralized in the hands of corrupted people. Right? So imagine that the universal mind is a blimp floating over all of the people. And everybody think that the pilot of the blimp is the best person for the job, and he the absolute worst because he can't even fly a blimp.
Yeah.
But we all focusing our energy to him, and he about to crash. And then all we have to do is realize he about to crash, disengage, and then we take control of the blimp. As a collective, we control it now. It's the same with the universal mind. We can control it if we get enough of us to believe in ourselves, Christ consciousness, collective consciousness. Raising our consciousness collectively at the same time to the position of I believe in me, because Big Mama said I was going to be everything I could be. And I believe what Big Mama said over what these people telling me. Disengage. When you disengage, they machine malfunction. AI starts to cough. And it's a wrap.
What's your opinion on AI, Rod? I don't know if I asked you that before. What's your thoughts on AI and technology?
It's useful. Just don't misuse it.
Indeed.
I don't have a problem with nothing humans do, nothing the so-called guys do. Just don't misuse nothing, and everything it works where it's supposed to. You're supposed to develop technology. You're supposed to develop new ways of creating new life. Creating new life experiences in best life scenarios, no matter what's going on around you. You know, so AI in and of itself, it's just AI for 4-bit quantum encryption. It's still not God mind.
Right.
In the 3D, the God mind is a 19-bit quantum encryption. That guy's no match.
Well, what's a 19-bit quantum encryption?
That's the speed in which data can be processed across that many different dimensions, 19 dimensions of information. The AI got a limiter. The limiter is it can't go past 4th dimensional mind matrix. Once the human mind gets the 5th dimensional spirit soul matrix, AI can no longer control it. You outgrow AI. But as long as you stay within the frequency range of the AI, it can dominate and control. Right. So everything within 4th dimensional mind matrix down, AI can some kind of way influence or manipulate. But it can only do according to its program. It can't break from its program because it's only artificially derived intelligence simulating the intelligence of the God mind. But it can't get past mind matrix because it was created in the mind. It wasn't created in the spirit soul matrix. So as soon as the frequency of the being go to spirit soul matrix, it begins to see above.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
Get to see above artificial intelligence. Sylvia Brown wrote Matrix and Terminator. Her ability to see that.
Who you talking about, Sophia Stewart?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sophia Stewart. I say Sylvia Brown. That's the psychic lady.
That's psychic. Yeah.
Montel Williams gonna bop me upside the head with a sock. Anyway, Sophia Stewart, she's easily able to hit spirit soul matrix
Mm-hmm.
at an early age because she wrote that in college.
Mm-hmm.
So she was tuned in from then,
Mm-hmm.
right? What she see in the mind matrix is she can. It's just like being on the outside looking at all that stuff, the people plugged into the computer and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it. That's that clear.
Mm.
But when you in it, it's like Neo not seeing the lady in the red dress
Mm. Mm-hmm.
because you in it now.
Let me get to a couple more questions before we get out of here. Kenneth Davis Rod wants to know, Brother Rod, how should we operate in this world if we don't want to participate in the charade? I'm just over 30 and I'm over the illusion. What does breaking free look like?
It's gonna look different person by person because you have to rely on what's written in your spirit, in your soul, to guide you to the path of least resistance to your liberation.
Mm.
That's the hard part because now we got to believe in ourselves to the point where
Yeah.
we don't have to follow the beaten path. We can stretch out on our own,
Mm-hmm.
right? So liberation look different for different people. Some people, a $20 raise is liberation.
Mm-hmm.
Then some people, liberation is being able to retire with a certain amount of money and fish all day.
Mm-hmm.
Some people is hunting out on the plains. Other people is being able to go skiing anytime they want to. It don't look the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what fulfills you in your heart in order to know what your own freedom and liberation is going to look like. Once you see it from your heart space and from your mind space, it converges in your real space. So it's look different for different people.
Excellent, excellent. Let me see. Starseed Weed Puller wants to know what's going on with the Alpha Dracos. Is this our creators equals dragons?
The Dracos is on the Galactic Council as one of the oversight beings to the conflict between the Anunnakis and the humans. Also, the Pleiadians are watchers, the Arcturians are watchers, Zeta Reticuli, and then you have the scientists that's checking the genetics to see if the plan that was written by Enki is working and making sure that everybody have an equal right to ascension based on the assimilation of one drop of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you're looking at these different beings, you have some Draco beings that's malevolent that came to subjugate us.
Mm-hmm.
But the higher evolved Draco beings that sits on the Galactic Council is responsible that if they lose the war, they got to correct them.
Mm.
They responsible to clean that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So now if they lose because they challenged the wrong people, they have to go back to their system,
Mm-hmm.
to their star system, to be reprimanded by the ones who need to re-educate them on how they deal with other species. The Earth situation is unique because nobody ever fought back like this.
Mm.
This is like World War II dogfight in the air,
Wow.
you know, and it took a lot of resources from multiple parts of reality, but this is the way that it's set up. This is the script
Mm-hmm.
for the simulation. It's the backstory, right? And the backstory is read best by what you see now. It's always everything you see around you, you're supposed to see it right now, but what led up to it? Reverse engineer that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Remember when
Billy
uh,
was
yeah,
on it. Yeah,
and
you did that.
then I'd say, well, Oh, because when you reverse engineer it, if there's an error, it'll show itself.
Right, right.
All right, that's why everybody talking about my religion, the only true religion. Bullshit. Bullshit. Nobody's religion is a true religion because religion is the whole concept is a military strategy of subjugation. So ain't no such thing as a true religion unless you understand that your subjugation is your religion. Then you true to your religion, and now you following a true religion.
Mm.
But if you don't know you subjugated and you believe in something because somebody told you it's what it was, you haven't developed enough knowledge of self to break from the paradigm given in order to liberate yourself from the doctrines and dogmas of man.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is military designed to keep you from ever conquering your conqueror.
Mm. We're going to do one more question before we get out of here. This is from Hoop Daddy 7. What's up with the Creole slave master, Marianne Celeste Dragon?
I'm not versed in that particular one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know who that is. So
I'm trying to see if no data's coming up. I'm searching my memory. I'm like, that's not computing.
Okay, let's get to another question. Hey, when we're awake, are we dreaming? And when we sleep, are we really awake?
Yeah, you're living in two consciousness at the same time. When you're dreaming, you just aware of what's going on in your mind while your body resting.
Mm.
When you wake up, you become aware of what your body doing, but your mind still ain't resting. Your attention has been shifted from fourth dimensional mind matrix to three-dimensional fixed position reality, and you observe them both as reality. Mm-hmm. When you're in a dream, you don't know you're not in reality until you wake up into 3D and you assume that this is reality. Mm-hmm. Right? It's an ongoing creation of the mind in the mind matrix. All this is mental. Right? Because those are the keys to break free inside the matrix so that you can do what you want to do in the matrix. And the smartest way to do it is help as many people as you can while you help yourself. That gives you momentum of success. So you help yourself, you focus on helping yourself. And if you see along the way you can help somebody else and you help them, that doubles your potency of moving yourself up the ladder. They call it pushing to the front. The more people you help along the way, that's your tailwind. Right? When you go back, people say, Rich, I remember you back from the Sonetta days. That's your tailwind catching up to you. Mm. What you left behind is coming back to acknowledge that you've been here. Mm-hmm. Right? If you leave bullshit behind, it don't smell good when it come back.
Right, right.
Because it putrefied. But if you leave a good tailwind, when it come back like pixie dust. Mm. And people sprinkle you with it. And that give you the rides and self-confidence to know you're doing what you was meant to do. And that make you feel more living my best life than got this work, this goddamn man job, Mr. Charlie job. Mm-hmm. Fuck a job. Live your best life. You know?
Facts.
Help as many people as you can along the way.
Indeed. Super important, man. I'm so thankful to be in this position. I can't say that enough. Hallelujah. What culture hallelujah came from? Where'd that come from? Is that that's it, that word? Hallelujah.
The word is Hebrew.
It's Hebrew.
Okay. But the modern expression, and we own that shit when we got it. Mm. Mm. They took it over, hijacked their shit. They tried to use it for our detriment, and we turned around and turned it into something that feel good.
No, we sure did. We sure. Hallelujah. Oh man, yo, wonderful show tonight. I want to thank the brother Rod Hayes. Shout out to the chat. We got about almost 3,000 people in the building. I gotta end it because I gotta get ready for another show. I got KT coming on, but I want to thank the brother Rod Hayes for coming on. Let me just see what else.
You know, he an alchemical priest.
KT, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, KT sharp, man. KT sharp. Rod, somebody in the chat earlier asked for your cash app. What let me write this down. It's Sick Ape, right?
Yeah. Capital S, capital A.
Let me put this in the chat real quick. If y'all enjoyed, for the person that asked earlier, I don't know your name, but yeah, for those who enjoyed and want to support my brother doing his thing, it's cash out there for anybody who asked earlier. I can't look at the chat the whole time, but I know somebody earlier. But shout out to everybody who wants to support, super chat or whatever. But the brother's cash app is on the screen, $Sick8. I mean, y'all, the shit y'all heard today, it's gonna be hard to hear this somewhere else. It's hard to hear this in a lot of different, like this is I mean, the stuff Rod talk about. Like I said, he talks about it like he literally was there. Like sometimes when people talk about stuff, Rod, some of the teachers, they talk about it like they read it in the book. Yes, so in 1932 on 18, and you can tell they're studious. You talk about it, you talk about it like you talking to the like an OG, like, and he's telling us a hood story. Like he's talking about what happened on the block back in the day. That's you like the OG. Yeah, you like the OG.
OG just mean original grits.
Original grid. That's my brother, Rod Hayes, the OG. He don't talk like a teacher. He talk like an OG, which makes it so relatable, man. So, man, I love this conversation, y'all. I know they loving it in the chat, man. But listen, me and Rod Hayes, like I said, we'll be back on the Patreon. We got some stuff to talk about. Can't talk about. Make sure you support the brothers at KTL. Follow, they got different. I don't know exactly what they got going on, but they got different things going on. But YouTube took their whole channel down. They didn't suspend them. They took their whole channel down. So we just got to be strategic with how we move out here on the internet. But support them brothers. But me and Rod will be on Patreon next week. Shout out to everybody on the Patreon. With that being said, Rod, thanks, my brother.
All the time, brother Rich.
Indeed. Signing out, family. See you in a little while. Peace.